All right, let's dive into something really cool today.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Back in 2017, astronomers spotted something truly bizarre cruising through our solar system.
Yeah, it was the first time we'd ever seen anything like it.
An object from another star system.
Can you imagine that?
Talk about a long-distance traveler.
It really makes you think about what else is out there, right?
Absolutely, we're talking about Oumuamua.
And let me tell you, this thing had scientists scratching their
Big
heads.
time. It wasn't just some ordinary space rock either. Oumuamua was moving way too fast for a typical comet or asteroid.
Like it was on a mission.
Right, and that's not all. Even the name itself, Oumuamua, adds to the intrigue. It's Hawaiian for scout or messenger from afar.
So were we being checked out by something from another part of the galaxy?
It's a question that definitely crossed my mind. But before we jump to conclusions, let's break down what we actually know about this interstellar visitor.
All right, so first off, its shape was unlike anything we'd ever seen before.
Seriously weird.
Picture this, a super elongated object, like a giant cosmic
You're
cigar.
kidding. Like, how big are we talking?
Astronomers estimated it to be roughly 400 meters long, but only about 40 meters wide.
That's a seriously strange shape for a space object.
Right. It's not your typical round asteroid or lumpy comet.
I'm starting to see why this thing caused such a stir.
And then there was the whole issue of its movement.
Oh yeah, the unexplained acceleration. It's like Oumuamua got a sudden burst of speed as it moved away from the sun.
Exactly. And there was no visible evidence of cometary outgassing.
Which is what usually explains that kind of acceleration, right?
Exactly.
This is where things start to get really interesting, because that's the detail that led some scientists, like Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, to propose a pretty wild theory.
Yeah, his idea definitely captured the public imagination.
He went so far as to suggest that Oumuamua might be an alien object.
An alien object, can you believe it?
He even wrote a whole book about it called Extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth.
Bold move.
So, what do you make of Loeb's theory? Alien tech or natural phenomenon?
Well, his argument is definitely thought-provoking. What if, instead of a random space rock, Oumuamua was actually an artificial object, something like a light sail, sent by an extraterrestrial civilization?
A light sail. Okay, you're gonna have to break that down for me.
Sure. Imagine a vast, incredibly thin sheet of reflective material, almost like a giant mirror. When light from the sun hits this sail, it creates a tiny bit of pressure, pushing it along.
I see. So it's using sunlight for propulsion. Kind of like a sailboat, but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. Over vast distances, this constant pressure from sunlight can accelerate a spacecraft to incredible speeds.
And Loeb thinks that could explain Oumuamua's weird acceleration.
It's one of the pieces of the puzzle that he points to.
What about its strange shape? Does the light scale theory explain that too?
Loeb argues that the elongated cigar shape could be an ideal design for a light sail.
Huh, interesting. So are we talking aliens confirmed then?
Well, not quite. While it's a cool idea, most scientists, myself included, are a bit more cautious.
Right, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, as they say.
Exactly. And while Loeb's theory is definitely intriguing, it's important to remember that there are other, more conventional explanations for Oumuamua's strange behavior.
Okay, so let's hear them. What are the alternative explanations that scientists are exploring?
Well, let's start with that puzzling acceleration. One possibility is that there was some kind of outgassing happening, but it was simply too faint for our instruments to detect.
So maybe it was a comet after all, just a really stealthy one.
It's possible. And there's another theory gaining traction that Oumuamua might have been made of frozen molecular hydrogen.
Frozen hydrogen, huh? How would that explain the acceleration?
Well, as this hydrogen sublimated, meaning it went directly from a solid to a gas, it could have given Oumuamua a little push without leaving a visible trail.
Interesting. So not aliens, just space ice.
Not quite as exciting, maybe, but it's a plausible explanation.
What about that wild cigar shape? Any natural explanations for that?
Well, while a naturally occurring cigar-shaped object is pretty rare, it's not impossible. It could have been sculpted that way by collisions with other objects over millions of years.
Ah, so like a cosmic game of billiards, with asteroids as the balls.
You got it. Space is a pretty chaotic place, and collisions can definitely reshape objects in dramatic ways.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the missing coma? I always thought comets had those glowing clouds of gas and dust surrounding them.
They usually do. It's what gives them that classic cometary look. But there are a few reasons why Oumuamua might have been comaless.
Okay, I'm listening.
One possibility is that it was made of different stuff than typical comets, with less of the volatile materials that create those visible clouds. Or maybe its long journey through interstellar space, bombarded by radiation, could have depleted its surface ice.
Ah, so like a really old comet that's run out of steam.
Exactly. It's been through a lot, traveling between the stars for who knows how long.
I'm guessing you're still not convinced about the alien spacecraft theory.
I'm keeping an open mind, but for now I'm sticking with the natural explanations. While Oumuamua's speed and trajectory seemed unusual at first, They're actually consistent with objects that have been ejected from other star systems.
So it's possible that this was just a cosmic long shot, a piece of debris flung out from another star system.
It's a possibility, and it highlights how interconnected our galaxy truly is.
Mind-blowing. But if this thing came from another star system, could it have picked up any hitchhikers along the way? Like microbial life clinging on for the ride?
Now, that's a question that really gets to the heart of why Oumuamua is so fascinating. We're talking about an object that could be millions, even billions of years old, that's traveled unimaginable distances through interstellar space.
If only it could talk, right?
Exactly what stories it could tell.
It opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. We're not just talking about rocks and ice anymore. We're talking about the potential for life beyond Earth, potentially hitching a ride on a cosmic traveler.
It's definitely something to ponder.
This is where things start to get really, really interesting.
It is, and that's why studying interstellar objects like Oumuamua is so crucial. They give us a glimpse into the incredible diversity of the universe, and they force us to confront some of the biggest questions we can ask. Are we alone? And if not, what else is out there? But there's a big challenge when it comes to studying these interstellar visitors.
You mean because they're so small and faint and zipping by so fast?
Exactly, by the time we spot them.
They're already on their way out.
Yeah, it's like trying to catch a glimpse of a shooting star.
It's gone before you can really get a good look.
And that's a big part of why there's so much debate surrounding Oumuamua.
Because we have this very limited snapshot of data.
Right, and that leaves a lot of room for interpretation, for speculation.
But hey, isn't that part of what makes science so cool?
Oh, absolutely.
The constant questioning, the search for answers.
Exactly, and sometimes those answers just lead to more questions.
Which is what keeps us pushing the boundaries, right?
You got it? That's what drives us to build better telescopes, develop more sensitive instruments, to try and solve these cosmic puzzles.
Speaking of pushing boundaries, Oumuamua definitely gave us a taste of what's out there.
Oh, for sure.
A reminder that our solar system is just one tiny part of a vast and mysterious universe.
And that there's so much more out there waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. So how do we prepare for the next scout or messenger from afar? Because there's going to be another one, right?
Oh, absolutely. There will be more, and astronomers are getting better at spotting these interstellar interlopers.
So we're getting better at our cosmic lookout duty.
We're getting there. There's a new telescope called the Vera Rubin Observatory that's coming online soon, and it's going to be incredibly powerful. It's going to help us spot a lot more of these objects.
That's great news, because more data means more clues.
Precisely, and hopefully fewer mysteries.
Speaking of mysteries, we've talked about all this evidence and the theories, but what does it all really mean?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that while the alien spacecraft idea is incredibly exciting,
Don't get me wrong, I'm still holding on to a little bit of hope for that.
I get it, it's a captivating thought, but the evidence we have points to natural explanations.
Right, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is usually the best.
Exactly, but it's important to balance that scientific mindset with a sense of wonder.
So skepticism with a dash of awe.
I like that. It's what drives us to explore and learn.
Makes sense. So to wrap things up, what are the key things you want our listeners to walk away with from today's deep dive?
I'd say the main takeaways are, first, our solar system isn't as isolated as we once thought. We now know that interstellar objects are out there and they're passing through our neighborhood. Second, these objects can be incredibly strange and challenging to understand, but they offer us valuable clues about the wider universe. And third, while the alien spacecraft theory is super fun to think about, we need to be grounded in the scientific evidence, which right now points toward natural explanations for Oumuamua's behavior.
So while we haven't definitively solved the mystery of Oumuamua, it's definitely opened up a whole new avenue of research.
Absolutely, it's a reminder that there's still so much out there to discover.
All right, so we've explored the natural explanations for Oumuamua, but we also talked about the possibility of it being an alien probe. Let's say for a minute we entertain that idea. If Oumuamua was a scout sent by some advanced civilization, what could it have learned about our solar system during its brief visit?
That's where things get really intriguing. Let's imagine, just for fun, that Oumuamua was equipped with advanced sensors capable of gathering information from a distance. What would it have seen as it passed through our cosmic neighborhood?
I'm all ears. Paint me a picture. What would this hypothetical alien probe have detected?
Well, as it approached our solar system, it would have noticed the gravitational pull of our sun, of course. But more importantly, it would have started to pick up on the telltale signs of a planetary system in orbit around that star.
So it would have seen that our sun wasn't alone, that there were other celestial bodies hanging out nearby.
Exactly. And as it got closer, it would have started to distinguish the individual planets, each with its unique size, composition, and orbital path. It might have even detected the faint glow of Earth's atmosphere, hinting at the presence of a world teeming with life.
Wow, so it could have literally seen us from afar. That's both amazing and a little unnerving. It's like realizing that we might not be as hidden away in the vastness of space as we once thought.
It does make you think, doesn't it? And remember, this is all based on the assumption that this was a passive observer, just collecting data without actively transmitting any signals. A silent sentinel, as we were saying before.
Right, like a cosmic tourist snapping photos and taking notes. So let's play this out a bit further. What if this probe was programmed to report its findings back to its home base? How would it do that? Would it send a radio signal? Or maybe drop off a little data capsule somewhere in space?
Those are all possibilities, and it's fun to speculate about the methods an advanced civilization might use. But there's another intriguing scenario to consider. What if this probe was designed to only transmit its data under very specific circumstances?
Okay, I like where this is going. You're talking about some kind of trigger event, right? Like it wouldn't just randomly spill the beans about Earth to anyone who was listening.
Precisely. Imagine if this probe was programmed to only transmit its findings if it encountered another probe from its own civilization, perhaps at a predetermined rendezvous point somewhere in the galaxy.
Ah, so it's like a cosmic dead drop where spies exchange secrets without ever meeting face to face. Or in this case, probe to probe.
That's a great analogy. And this brings us to another fascinating question. If we do encounter another object like Oumuamua, and this time we're prepared for it, should we attempt to intercept it and retrieve any data it might be carrying?
Whoa, that's a big decision. It would be a monumental moment for humanity, potentially unlocking secrets about alien civilizations and the nature of the universe itself. But as we were discussing earlier, there are also risks involved.
Absolutely. Making contact with an advanced alien civilization could be incredibly beneficial, but it could also pose significant challenges. We need to proceed with extreme caution, weighing the potential benefits against the unknown risks.
It's like opening Pandora's box, isn't it? We might unleash something we can't control.
That's a valid concern, and it's why it's crucial to have open and honest discussions about the potential implications of extraterrestrial contact. We need to consider all the angles, both positive and negative, and develop thoughtful strategies for navigating this uncharted territory.
It's a lot to consider. But for now, all we can do is keep exploring, keep asking questions, and be ready for whatever the universe throws our way.
I couldn't agree more. The universe is full of mysteries, and the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. But that's what makes it so exciting. It's a never-ending journey of discovery.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the enigmatic Oumuamua. Whether it was a peculiar space rock or something far more extraordinary, its visit has certainly sparked our imaginations and ignited a new wave of scientific inquiry. So until next time, keep looking up, keep wondering, and keep exploring the endless possibilities of the cosmos.